Run for the hills if your car dealership does this. I get it, you hate buying cars, and it's literally the worst thing in the world when you run into bad car dealerships. But I'm gonna give you 10 red flags to be on the lookout for, so that way you can ensure that you have a great car buying experience. And literally, if you see these red flags, don't even do business with the dealership. First one is too low of a price. Yes, dealers out there play games on pricing because they know you are searching for the lowest price, traditionally speaking, on the car. So they will do a low price on the internet, and unfortunately it's a fake price. I've done videos on this in the past, and the reason they do that is so that way they show up early in search, because traditionally speaking, people do not search past 4 pages of inventory, regardless if it's new or used, when it comes to buying a car. So the first and foremost thing, you have to find out why that price is so low. It could be a matter of several factors. It could be aged inventory, new or used. Dealerships have their own criteria on what they feel that a car is in inventory for X amount of days that they need to get rid of it. So is it aged inventory? You can look at that on the Carfax, is usually the best place to look at that to see when it went into inventory. Are they simply just playing games with pricing? They could say, hey, listen, we'll give you this price, but only if you finance the car with one of our lenders in-house. That's a game that they like to play. They give a little bit of rebate on new or used cars, and they'll play those games. Or they're like, hey, listen, you gotta trade something in to get this price. So what if you don't have a trade in? What if you wrecked your car and you're replacing it? You're gonna get punished for that? It should be wrong, it should be illegal, but it's not in this free trade world, but that's what they also do. And I think the biggest one is that you need to look at, is there something wrong with the vehicle? It doesn't matter if it's new or used. There could be something wrong with the vehicle and they have it priced very low. On used, could have bad Carfax, could be wrecked, it could be, not running right, so on and so forth. On new, could be exactly the same. It could be wrecked, it could be a demo, it could be a service loaner, who knows what's there, but those are some of the reasons why. First, I think what you need to do is read the entire page. Nobody ever reads the entire page of a used car listing or a new car listing, and that's a big mistake that you make as a consumer by not reading the entire thing. Yes, you have to read all the fine print. And I always say this, I hear this all the time when people call into the dealership and they say, oh, I thought. Well, there you go, stop thinking, number one. That's probably what you need to stop doing, is thinking, because any time that someone says, oh, I thought, they're usually always wrong. So if you read the entire page, you're gonna get that, oh, I thought, out of it. Also, secondly, I think you need to have a conversation with the BDC rep rather than someone in sales. Most dealers have what's called a BDC rep, a business development center representative for the dealership. Their job all day long is to set and answer questions, answer phones, and set sales appointments for the salespeople. They are there to help, and traditionally speaking, they're not in it for commission. They're paid a little bit different structure depending on the dealership. So have conversations with that BDC rep, because they probably, 1, don't know, 2, will get the answers, and 3, be truthful with you. Number 2 has to do with pricing as well, but I wanted to separate them because it's extremely important to have this out there, and that's no pricing on the website. If it says call for pricing, or you have to put in your name, cell phone number, and email address to get the pricing on the dealership's website, run right away. Don't even do business with that dealership, because the used car dealerships that say, oh, listen, we have this private sale, and in order to see the pricing, they will want you to put in your name and capture your information. That's a big red flag, and traditionally speaking, those types of dealerships are working with subprime, bad credit folks, and they screw you over more than anyone else out there. If a used car dealership is not putting their prices in online or their inventory online, because listen, if you have to put in your name, phone number, and email address to see the inventory, they don't have any inventory to see anyways. They're just gonna call you and get you in. And then what happens for the subprime people is they make up a price based off of their dealership being able to make profit, because banks charge them fees. Another big thing is on the new car dealer side is we got ADMs. If it says please call for price, most likely it's gonna be because they have a huge additional dealer markup that you don't want to pay as well. Number 3 is won't give you out the door numbers. Any dealer not willing to give you out the door price in this era is 100% playing games with you. Again, I'm not a big person on using pronouns of everyone, always, everybody, but I will do it in this case 100% of the time. If they do not give you a price over the phone, you're not gonna get a good experience. You have to work your deal on the phone, through text message, through email. You do not work it at the dealership's property. You need to have the home field advantage, and that's anywhere else besides the dealership's property. Some markets, these people won't send out via text or email, which is fine. I have some friends in Atlanta that I always help buy cars, and Atlanta dealerships do not give out pricing over the phone via email or text. But what you can do at least is get it verbally from them. And of course, if you go to ChevyDudeStore.com, we have a worksheet there that you can ask all those questions and write all those fields in. Make sure you get the purchase price, make sure you get the sales tax, make sure you get any type of additional fees like a title fee or anything like that, and get it verbally sent to you or told to you, so that way you have a reference. Like, listen, I talked to Jonathan at 12:36 on this day, and he said this, right? Write notes for yourself so that way you have it, so that way when you do go to the dealership, that you have something to reference back to you in the conversation. And when you go in prepared and have it wrote down, if you have to get to the manager part of it, if you have it wrote down, that's pretty good credibility compared to like, oh, but he told me this on, I don't remember what day it was, but it was blah, blah, blah. That's no credibility. The dealerships don't believe you. But if a dealer isn't willing to give you the door number, I just wouldn't do business with them. Number 4 is credit application. And a lot of dealers like to do this really early in the process. And there's only one reason they do this, and that is because they have prejudged you. Sadly speaking, car dealerships all across the country will size you up as a consumer and have a pre-notion of what you're going to do. If you're going to buy today, if you've got good credit, if you've got bad credit, so on and so forth. And if they think that you have bad credit, just 1 ounce of bad credit, they're going to say, come on in, let's get a credit application, see how we can help you out the best. Hit the brakes right there. If you have above a 720 or more credit score, look, just tell them to get out of my life. Hey, listen, if you're going to treat me that way, I'm going to get another salesperson, or simply say, I haven't determined how I'm going to purchase the car yet, so a credit application isn't necessary. Oh, but we need a credit application before you can test drive a car, before we can get you numbers, before we can get you payments. Okay, then see you later. Get out of there, leave, because that is a part of the process, the beginning of the process, to take the most advantage of you during their car deal. That's correct. I always say it. When you go on a dealership's lot, you're working their car deal, not your car deal, and they're in control. So if that happens, like I said, get out of there. Number 5 is time frame on your purchase price. Dealers love to sit there and tell you, hey, listen, if you do it now, do it by the end of the day, do it the next 10 minutes, we'll do this price for you right here. But if you walk out of this dealership, this price is no longer valid. Outside of manufacturer rebates, there is no reason that a dealership should put a time contingency on your car, with the exception of the car is sold. Car sold, car is sold. But this happens on new and used cars all over the country. And if the dealerships do give you a time frame on making a purchase, then just walk out. And sometimes it'll happen like this. Hey, I know you want to think about it, and we'll make this price good through the end of the day. We got another hour, whatever the case may be. But if you walk out of here, this price is no longer valid. And at that point, if you're not ready to do purchase, get up, walk out, and let them call you next. If not, just keep looking for their next car. Number 6 has to do with vehicle history reports on used cars. If a dealership is unwilling to give you a vehicle history report on the used car that you're purchasing, it's probably best to get up and walk out. The reason why is they're probably playing games with you on those cars. Sadly, the vast majority of the time that this happens is at little car dealerships like mine. They either have 10, 15, 20, 30 cars in stock, and they don't sell the nicest of cars. You can see that right away. And it comes back to looking for the cheap, inexpensive cars. But this happens because they have a branded title, they have bad car accidents, whatever the case may be, washed titles. So only look for Carfax and AutoCheck dealers, and if they're unwilling to do it, leave right away and whatnot. And don't forget that you can actually pull a Carfax on a new car. I pulled this one on a brand new EV Silverado over at 𝘥𝘠 Chevrolet, and you can pull that on new cars as well. And it's a good advice to do it if they've had the car for a long time, because cars do get in damages when they are brand new. So check it on new cars as well. Number 7 is no third-party inspections on used cars. Now, when you're buying a used car, it is a good rule to get a third-party inspection done on this car. And if a dealership does not allow you to do that, that is a huge red flag. It could be a couple of different factors. One, that they didn't inspect it themselves, so they're scared. huge thing. Number two, that they know there's something wrong with it and they don't want you to find it before you purchase it, because they know that they sell cars as is and you have no recourse if you sign an as is buyer's guide, because it strictly says that and it's a federal government form. So if you do want to have an inspection and they say, yeah, go for it, hey, sweet, do that. But if they don't let you do it, run from the hills on that particular vehicle. Number 8 is poor dealer reviews. Make sure you look at the dealer reviews and don't just look at the negatives. Everyone always wants to see the lowest reviews. I do it as well, and we should do that, but don't always look at that. And unfortunately, at franchise car dealers, they get grouped with their service department and the sales department. But look at those reviews and read the good ones and the negative ones, so that way you can gauge a good interest on there. Obviously, we got Google, we got Yelp, but also another good one is DealerRater, which is owned by Cars.com. Number 9 is payment packing, okay? If a dealership says, hey, great news, we can get you to your payment, which you should never buy a car based on payment anyways, but most of you do. Hey, great news, we got your payment of $450 per month, and that includes warranty, gap, and blah, 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 blah. That is payment packing, and it's illegal, which is why you need to make sure that you do get our worksheets on ChevyDudeStore.com, because this allows you to go right along and get all the proper information, so that way you do have the out the door price. So if they tell you that, hey, it includes this, it's $450, the next thing you need to do is like, hey, listen, I'm not sure if I want that stuff yet. That does sound like a good idea, but I'd also like to know what my base payment is. And if you use the word base payment, it's the terminology that is used in the car dealership quite often. Ask them what your base payment would be without those added extras, so that way you can see. And a good rule of thumb is for every $20 in payment is $1,000. So if that payment drops $60, that's $3,000 in ads that they're trying to pack into your payment. Number 10 is rate hostage. This is a sneaky one and a lot of people fall for it. So the very first thing that happens is this happens in the back office, where the finance manager will have you sign all your paperwork for your car purchase. And they also go over the extended warranties, and they go over the gap insurance and all the other ancillary products out there. Now, these folks have one job to do for the dealership, and that's increase their profitability. There's finance managers all over the internet bragging how they're making $3,000, $3,500, and $4,000 per customer in that back office. And one of the things that they do after they slide you a couple, paperwork that doesn't matter, the bill of sale, the odometer statement, they bring out that sheet that shows all the packages that you can purchase, and they name them all sorts of goofy things. And then you're like, nah, I don't think I want that. And they'll say, I'll tell you what, if you buy the extended warranty and the gap coverage, maybe we can get you a lower rate. Or they say, maybe we can get you 1% lower, half a point% lower, whatever the case may be. As soon as they indicate that they are going to give you a lower rate for buying something, that is against the law, and the FTC regulates this very, very closely. And at that point, you just need to let them know that, hey, listen, this is against the law. You can't do that. If I can get a lower rate without buying something, I want that lower rate. But if I have to buy something, what kind of rate would that be? Now you see where I went with that? I trap them. If I do buy the extended warranty, what type of rate would I get? Oh, I'd get a point lower? Sweet. Well, why don't you do me a favor so we don't violate any laws here? Give me that lower interest rate, and I don't want the extended warranty. And if they want to argue with you, get up and walk out. See what happens. They'll give you that lower rate. And you guys know that I always overpromise and overdeliver on my videos, so you guys have a bonus red flag to watch out for, which number 11 is the aggressive sales staff. If you, number one, you should never go to a dealership unannounced. You should always make an appointment. But if you do go to a dealership and you see the sales staff just standing outside in a huddle or in a group, or you see them all walking around because they've been broke up, you better believe that the management team of that dealership is making them do that. In this era, the salespeople should not be outside waiting for their next victim. They should be inside doing other things. And one way to avoid one of those salespeople is simply ask, hey, who's your number one salesperson? Or simply ask to talk to a manager that you have a concern that you want to talk about. And you talk to that sales manager and say, hey, listen, I really want to work with your number one or your number two salesperson. And you have to be wary that if they have 5 sales guys, you probably don't want to work with number 3 or number 4. But if they have 25 sales guys, number 3 or number 4 is not a bad bad thing. So always work with their top sales team, because those people most likely have been there the longest, they have the best CSI scores, and if you read the Google reviews or the dealer rated reviews, they're probably mentioning those a lot as well. So those were my 11 red flags to be watching out for. So what red flags have you seen that I didn't mention in this video? Throw it in the comment section, and remember, buying a car doesn't have to suck.